again, everyone. We'll go ahead and get our program started. Hopefully, if everybody, we have some dessert up there, so if you haven't got one, be sure to get you some. And while David and Tara are still out there, can we give them a big hand? I think the dinner was a good one. They were wonderful to us. Tonight we have some special guests, and I know you get tired of looking at me and listening to me, and so I'm going to actually turn it over to Cindy and let her do this. But this is something that's actually been near and dear to her heart for quite a little while since she first heard about it. And it's about a Constitution camp for kids, and that's all the thunder I'm going to steal from her. And I'd like to turn it over to my lovely wife, Cindy, and you know, ask her the hard questions.
I don't know. Now I don't even know where to start. So this little brainchild just started. I started thinking, you know, we need to get all of our kids out of public schools, get them homeschooled, and started thinking about that. And then it led to the Constitution camp, and I thought, that could be our kickoff. And I know some people who are really good at that. So I have invited, and I know because I don't like standing up here, I always forget everybody's name. Michelle Holyoke.
Holyoke.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Chantel Holman.
Yes, ma'am.
And Ashley Smith. They're going to do a presentation on the organization that they started, Reconnect Southeast Idaho, out of Pocatello. And what got them started, and then they did their first Constitution camp for kids last summer, and you had 75 kids?
60 kids.
60 kids. So last year, we're going to do another one this summer. So we're going to kind of not reinvent the wheel. They're going to guide us, and we're going to do one July 20th through the 24th here at the Shiloh. I already have it reserved for that. So if you want to volunteer to help with ours, let me know afterwards. If you want to help with theirs, because some of us are going to go down there and volunteer and help them so we learn it, come talk to us too. And so whichever one of you want to take over first.
Yeah, we're both We tag.
Oh, and we're having a planning meeting tomorrow at Keeley Mikesell's house. Important note with that, she has severe peanut allergies in her home, so don't come with anything peanutty. Just say that. So, thank you.
Oh,
Okay. So, give me this one second. Okay.
I know attention to the man.
We are so excited to be here with you guys tonight. We're excited to tell you about a little bit about our group. We're excited to see familiar faces. Ashley, if you feel the love, you just jump right in here with us. So Ashley is on our board, on our Reconnect Southeast Idaho board.
Yes.
And she came with us to be moral support tonight.
Along with Laquita Morgan.
Along with Laquita Morgan, so there's 4 of us on our board.
You know, we're high tech. We got some nice.
I'm loud, man. I don't know if you want me to use this thing. Okay.
Okay, so, anyways, we're excited to be here with you guys. We are going to tell you, so do you want to come over on the side? Because you're going to be working that one, I'm going to be working this one.
The problem is I gotta be able to see that one,
I know,
so I gotta
right?
like click and then set in front of you.
see.
We are real professional around here. Just saying.
Okay, so, let's go ahead and get into the first slide.
All right.
Okay, so, who are we? So, Miss Cindy already gave you our names. I'm Chantel Holman, and
Michelle Holyoke, like a spiritual tree.
like a spiritual tree.
Yep, that's right. Everybody always says hollyhock or whatever, but it's a spiritual tree. Holyoke, that's it.
And we're going to tell you a little bit about, well, why did we come together, right? We came together because of COVID. I don't know how many of you guys know. A lot. You know, everything just kind of went nuts when the pandemic hit. We saw a lot of people scared, a lot of people not talking to each other, a lot of people not communicating, and we kind of all stayed in our houses scared. not knowing exactly what to do, right? And it got to a point where it was like, where are our people? Where are these people? Like, who, because and the more you watched it, or at least for me and my friends, the more we watched it, the more we were a little, started to question, right? Question. I like to think for myself, I don't think I'm going to believe what you're saying. Question, right? So we decided, I don't know, have any of you heard of the documentary Non-Essentials by Eric Moutsos? Julian, you've been to it? Yes, right? Such a good documentary. We decided we needed to do something. Pocatello was crazy. People weren't going out. People had masks all over the place. We decided we need to put on, that we were going to bring this documentary.
Well, that's actually where we met, right? We met at a mask mandate meeting at the city council protest. That's how we met Shan. I was drug in front of a crowd and told that I needed to be their leader and dragged them inside, and I started to cry and Shan hugged me, and that was the end of it. So, and that's how we met.
She's like, who are you?
I love you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we did. We came together, we put on the non-essential. We had about 300 people show up between 2 showings in the first night that we did it, which was so nice, right? It kind of showed us who our crowd was, who our group was, and we started gathering these people. And then there were a few things that kind of sprouted from that. I don't know how many of you guys know John Crowder. I think he's been up here to speak, right? Yeah, so he's been up here, so he said, who are you guys? What are you guys doing? Well, we don't know. We're just moms. Whatever's happening is horrible. We need to do something. So anyways, with all of that.
So John became our guiding star, let's be honest.
Right. Yeah.
He's like our political consultant father. He's kind of our father figure.
He's so awesome. So anyways, we started this group. We came together. We started this group. We had 8 members on our board, and we called ourselves Reconnect Southeast Idaho. And the whole idea was to bring people back together because of the division, right? There was so much division. We've got to do something. We've got to bring our people back together. So we did that. What else?
Your computer went to sleep.
Oh, my
So you
computer
type in
went
your
to sleep.
password and I'll move on.
Okay.
Okay, so so this is our mission that Shan's going to move here in a second and then you can see it.
Sorry.
So Ashley and Shan and I decided we needed to start this organization, so we sat down over breakfast at a local restaurant one day and decided to hash out our mission statement, and then we felt like we could invite people in after we knew what we wanted to do. And this is our mission statement. Our mission is to reconnect Southeast Idaho by gathering the liberty-minded, educating, and influencing our community in and with the values of freedom set up by our founding fathers. And
Thank you.
Yeah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
That was good timing.
That's good.
That was awesome.
I wish I lived my life with a soundtrack. And so we decided that this was our core passion. So whatever came our way, if it fit into this, then we knew it was right? And that's what we would go for. So that's kind of where we're at. Yeah.
So then we did the non-essential documentary. We did an unmasked. So our first, our first freedom ball. We've had 2 now, and our first one. At the time, there was a mask mandate on Pocatello.
And it was illegal to have groups of more than 100 people.
Yeah. And so we had an unmasquerade Liberty Ball. We thought we were quite clever.
We didn't quite, I'm not sure we quite had more than 100 people there, but we had a lot of cops.
Yeah.
Dancing, not arresting us.
So we had that, and that has become, I'll just throw this in here right now, I don't know if this is the right place, but anyway.
No, that's great, do it.
That's actually become our number one, our only fundraiser that we do for the Constitution Kids Camp.
Yep.
So, and we just finished doing it, what, about a month ago?
Yep.
About a month ago.
Yep.
So it was fun, and it worked out really well.
Yep.
We've done educational videos and leaflets for some of the people, well.
No, not people, no.
Yeah, we haven't done it for people.
No.
We're a nonprofit.
We're a
can't.
C3, we don't
Yeah.
talk about politicians.
That's right.
That's right.
We don't support anybody.
We just talk about what politics should be, and not specific people. So we've done some educational videos,
Yeah. So we keep it
understanding how
all-
those processes work.
Which goes under our mission statement,
Yep,
so we're
yep.
right in line.
Nope.
And then we just recently, well, since January, we put together monthly self-reliance courses. They're in Pocatello. Any one of you is welcome to join us. They're fun. They're neat. We've done
Second
psychology.
Tuesday, Tuesday of every month. We've done the psychology of survival.
We've done an herbal class.
We've
What
done
is
an
it?
herbal class.
Next week is,
Next week is our
we've
next
done
one.
a ham radio class.
Yep.
Next week we're doing food storage
Storage.
solutions.
Yeah, all
And
things.
then we're doing another one about surviving trauma and being resilient.
those are all in Pocatello.
All in Pocatello, yep.
What night of the week usually?
So it's always the second Tuesday of the month, and we have so we have a Facebook group, Reconnect Southeast Idaho. That's where we post all that stuff.
Yeah. So hop in there, and if you and we do have a messenger thread just for that too. So if anybody wants to get in there. Okay. So then, how did we get the Constitution? This is also kind of funny, slightly humorous. So last year we had our
Type your
first
password
board
again.
meeting. Oh man, I didn't know how to make it go longer. Okay. So
Well, here, I'll start while
Yeah,
you're doing
go
that.
for
I'll
it.
start with this part. So, like I said, we're real professional around here. So, Ashley actually came to my house and was like, "Did you know that they do this Constitution Camp at Pocatello?" And I was like, "No, I'm calling them right now." So I picked up the phone and I called this lady and I was like, "Hey, I want to do this, and you guys didn't do it last year. Are you doing it this year? I will come teach for you. I want my kids in it. I want to do all this stuff." And then in that conversation, she was actually telling us about, she's like, "Well, we were talking about, we need to step up and do things in the community." And she's like, "Yeah, I went to this documentary. Have you ever heard of it, like Non-Essentials?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was actually our event." And she was like, "Oh, awesome." So then they asked if they could come to our board meeting because we kept saying, "We would love to help you. We would love to help you."
Yeah.
So they came to our first ever board meeting.
Yes,
Yeah, there
number
you go.
one.
Yeah.
number one.
Yep.
Go ahead, you're doing
That's
great.
where you were at.
Oh, that's where I'm at. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So then they walk in and they say, "Well, they show us all these pictures and how great it is. We're all just drawn in. We are just so excited. Oh, we're so excited to be a part of this. This is going to be great." And then at the very end they say, "If you don't do it, it's not going to happen." We're like, "Oh."
They're like, "We're done. We've retired. Peace out. Here you go." That's it.
Yeah. So we got this great thing handed to us, and we said, "Well, we really want our kids to be a part of it. Like ultimately, like we're all homeschool moms, we all have kids, and it was like, if we don't put it on, who's gonna put it on?" So it was like, okay, you're in charge and you're in charge. Yeah, and we took it. It was, okay, so then, let's move on.
Yep.
So why is this such an important cause? And I think that probably everybody here already knows the answer to this question. I'll say that, but we're gonna go through some of our reasoning and what we feel like.
All right, so one of the, sorry, see, I don't like microphones. So my parents have always told me I was way too loud for my own good, so I just don't like microphones.
Drama.
No, I'm just kidding. So, all right, lost. So the very first thing for me, right, was I feel like we all know there's a lot of lost truths, right? A lot of lost truths about the Constitution, about our government, about where our country came from, about why we are here in the first place, right? A lot of lost truths.
Yeah.
And if you want to get right into it, we'll just say specific de-education, right? Straight up from the top, and has been planned for years. Oh snap! You know where I stand and stuff.
And as we started digging into the curriculum and looking at what this camp was, we realized that this camp fully embodies our mission statement more than anything else we had done so far. And so that's why we kind of decided that this was going to be our biggest event of the year, and this is what we were going to focus our time on.
And actually, we didn't even decide that till after we had the camp,
that's true.
right?
That's true.
Right?
Yeah,
But we'll show you
yeah.
why. We'll show you why that after we had the camp, why we came to this. Like,
Yes.
this is our core thing.
Yep.
This is our focus. This is what we're going for.
Yep.
One thing that we wanted to mention was that we felt like God had his hand in the creating of our country, right? 100%. We know that the documents that were founded by the Founding Fathers were inspired documents. And that that is our foundation, right? Full on our foundation.
What else?
So, I feel like that, I mean, we know, right? We know that the whole foundation of the Constitution was built upon the idea that these rights came from God, right?
Yeah.
And not man. And that government's role was just to protect that, end of story, right? And that those truths have been lost. But if you look throughout history, this great experiment that the Founding Fathers put us in, right? Every step along the way, there were so many points when it was going to crumble. There were so many points when it almost failed, right? From the beginning of our country. And if you look at history with the perspective of God's hand, then you can see every step of the way when it almost crumbled, that God intervened. A miracle happened, right? Things that we never thought would happen, happened. And we feel like that that's exactly where we are right now. We are at a tipping point, right? And if you look at history with the lens of God has had his hand in it the whole step of the way, then we have to believe that he still has his hand in it now, right? And he still cares what happens to this country and what's coming, because we're at a tipping point. Okay.
Where are you?
Click.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, if ever the time should come when vain and aspiring men shall possess the highest seats in government, that is now, right? Our country will stand in need of experienced patriots to prevent its ruin. By Samuel Adams. Our children need to have the knowledge of our country. They need to have the love and passion that it's going to take to uphold our country, right? And the thing is that.
So I went to a charter school actually that it was developed by a lot of people from Blackfoot area, right? And I went to that school because my best friend was there, I'll be honest. The school was set up to prepare us for what's happening right now. And, but I went there because my best friend was there. I read the Federalist Papers, I wrote all my reports on them, I learned about the Founding Fathers, and then I got my heck out of there with a C+ average, right? But now, as an adult, I called my best friend from high school, and I was telling her everything that was going on, and she was like, who are you? Like, who is this person who's now all of a sudden involved in politics and all this stuff? Because that's not me. That was not me 2 years ago. And I was like, I don't know what happened to me, Dawn, I don't know. And she was like, do you not remember high school? Like, they created a sleeper agent and you didn't even know it, like all of a sudden, right? So they apparently brainwashed me, and then I woke up and I was like, oh yeah. So, but I didn't go to school for that purpose, I didn't. But I now look back at that foundation, and that's exactly what I'm standing on, right? So here's the thing about our kids. Our kids are not going to feel the love and passion that we have for this country with what they are bombarded with in this world by us telling them to read the Constitution and read the Founding Fathers documents. I read them, right? They're good. We need to teach those things to our kids. But a 10-year-old is not going to build a love, or a 7-year-old is not going to build their foundation of their love of this country by just reading about it in a textbook, right?
And that love will eventually move to those bigger and harder things to understand. But before that, we...
What?
Do the next part.
I need to see the next part.
Well, okay, so what we're trying to do in the Constitution camp is we tie rags on their feet and we walk through the Delaware River with George Washington, right? Or we
toss tea into the Boston River, right?
Or we
you want me to go through this? All right, so the point is kids are not going to learn this with reading, but they will get it by marching through the Delaware River with rags on their feet with George Washington in a 10-foot pool covered in ice water, right? They will get it by screaming their injustices to King George, who is booing them from the stage. They will get it. Yes, oh my gosh, that's so bad. That's so funny. They will get it by sewing on a star with Betsy Ross while she tells them stories, right? And this is how our kids are going to connect that knowledge to their hearts and to their minds, right? That's Shan's.
Absolutely.
And
do you move on?
No, and we know that that's the way it works because we saw it over and over and over again throughout the week, right? To the point where sometimes, like, it just full on brought us to tears, honestly.
Well, I think we all had moments throughout. So we did the full week. We all had moments, each one of us individually, oftentimes at separate times, where we would just stop and start crying. Because it was like, because you could just feel the goodness. You could feel the kids grasping it. Not everybody maybe to the depths of their soul, but you could see that seeds were being planted.
Some were just throwing firecrackers. It's okay, there's always one or two.
Right. So
they may or may not have been throwing firecrackers at King George.
It happened once.
It was one time. We handled it, we moved on, but it happened.
I'm gonna take note of that.
But they were passionate. They hated him, I am telling you.
Yeah.
Okay, so, moving on.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, oh yeah, I remember one. There we go. Are you reading? Or am I reading?
Sure, I'll read.
Okay.
The secret of freedom lies in educating people, whereas the secret of tyranny is in keeping them ignorant. 100%, right? 100%. And I feel like, despite the efforts of the opposition to keep all humans ignorant, right? That we must continue to educate. We must continue to educate not only our children, but ourselves. Right? We've lost so much through a good chunk of time. So it's about educating ourselves, but these children are our next generation. They are our leaders, right? They are the people who are going to take the governmental seats. They are the people who are going to run the local government, right? These are the children that need the seeds planted now so they can get that love and passion for our country.
And if we haven't learned anything else in the last 2 years, we have learned that we can't rely on anyone else to do that, right? Which is why the three of us became homeschool moms in the last 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And which is why we said, man, if we don't do this, if not us, then who? And if not now, then when? When is this gonna happen? So it was like, step on it. Let's go, sisters, let's go.
And because we're mamas, we appreciated this.
Yeah.
There you go.
The next one. Let's let you guys take that one in. Just look at his face.
When you just got a new country and you leave it with your kids for just a couple of centuries, but they broke it already. All right.
Okay.
So what does the week at camp look like? So the kids come. We're just going to give you a kind of a quick overview. It won't give you everything, but it'll give you a little glimpse. So the kids come at 8:30 in the morning and then leave at 12:30 in the afternoon. They rotate through 6 different stations, each being about 25 minutes long. That includes their travel time, so they're fast, which is like perfect for kid, right? Kid, what am I trying to say? Like attention span. Yep. We feed them a snack in the middle. The classes are named after famous cities that the founders worked in.
Yes.
And then...
So in each one of those stations, and the kids are actually broken up in groups, and they have their own little team names, right? Like they've got the Liberty Kids, and the Rabble Rousers, and the Patriots, and the... Right? And we learned a lot throughout camp. We had no idea what we were doing. No idea. But we learned a lot through camp. But we learned, they loved the roll call. They loved being proud that they were patriots and that they were rabble rousers and they were Liberty Kids. And dang it, they were going to chant that and scream it. So they had their little groups, right? So that they had their little pride. And then they rotated through these classes. And so we had Philadelphia was like a crafting station. So this is where they sewed on stars with Betsy Ross. They created almanacs. Like Benjamin Franklin. They learned how to wash clothes in a wash basin. They made homemade fermented root beer.
It only fermented for 24 hours. We learned that they're supposed to ferment for like weeks or months, right?
Yeah. We just did it for 24 hours. It wasn't alcoholic. It's okay. It was really gross though. But it was fun, right? And then my husband made really good root beer for them for snacks. And then they would go, so they go to all these different stations, they all kind of had a theme. So they go to the, Lexington was kind of like a reenactment station, so they would reenact scenarios and things like that. And then there was, Boston was kind of like an immersive learning, so they tossed the boxes and reenacted the Boston Tea Party, but first they had to yell their grievances as they were doing it, so they had to learn the why. This is where they screamed at King George. Oh man, did they scream at King George. And loved that. And
that is like, it was the funnest class ever. They had like pre-printed out questions for the kids, like, what were the questions like? Can I please? I don't know.
It was like, can I please have donuts for breakfast? And he's like, no.
He didn't.
Only I'm gonna have to have cake.
Yeah. Yeah, he sat up there and said no the whole time to everybody's request. No.
Why are you taking
No.
all of our money? The money has my face on it. It's my money. Like, that's all they would say. It was so funny.
And the teacher would go around and be like, he's not very reasonable, is he? No, it's not. It was so fun. It was so fun.
And then in, I don't remember now all of the names because it's leaving me, Lexington. In Lexington is where they kind of got a deep dive into the Constitution. This is where they learned and understood the roles of government. They were told exactly when and how they should be able to impeach and kill people in government if they weren't doing the right thing. I mean, it's in the Constitution. So, they learned exactly kind of a deep, like I said, a deep dive. This is where they signed the Declaration of Independence themselves with quill pens.
And
right?
before that, the teacher that was there will say, now think about what it's going to take to sign the Declaration of Independence. These people were hunted the rest of their lives. Like they really had to think before they actually did this. Like
Are
they
you
had
willing
to
to put your name on this?
Yeah, are you willing to put your name on this? They had to think that's stuff that I didn't know. As an adult, I was like, oh man, I didn't know that this is how it went down. But I mean, just being there and learning it, and that these kids are getting so young. Anyways,
Yes.
sorry, go ahead.
And they learned things about like natural law, right, and consequences, and why things are the way they actually are, no matter what stinker people say. Alright, so they go through these stations and they learn these concepts, and then they music. Is that what we're talking about next?
So on Friday.
All right. So on Friday we have a musical. And
Before that, on Friday, we also have the Founding Fathers.
Oh, Founding Fathers Friday! How do you forget about Founding Fathers Friday?
So awesome.
So Friday, all of the stations just have their founding fathers that come, and the kids get to interact with the founding fathers. So, we have.
And they're dressed up. I mean,
Yes.
they're dressed up full
You
costume,
guys will see.
in
We'll show you
character.
here in a minute. Yeah. And so they're in full in character. We gave out information to all of these men. So, and they come in, they interact with the kids. The kid asks them questions. They tell them about their lives. They tell them about their journey, and the kids get to meet these heroes that they've been learning about all week, right? And then throughout the week, they're learning this musical. You can look it up on YouTube. It's super 80s cheesy. It's awesome. It's called Take Your Hat Off When the Flag Goes By. And Ashley's going to give you a rendition. I'm just kidding. Take your hat off. I am telling you, you will never get these songs out of your head ever again.
But one of them, the kids memorized the whole preamble.
Yep.
Through the song.
What was it, Chef? What was that?
I know, right?
No, my 6-year-old was singing the preamble in the back seat of our van like 2 days ago because they were excited that camp was coming in. So, I guess she's 7. No, she's 6 now, right? I don't know how old she is. Okay.
And then the musical.
Yes. So we had an amazing woman who came in, and they only learned this music for like 40 minutes a day. And then Friday evening, I'm telling you, miracles. Friday evening, they were all off book, on their spots. It was magnificent. And we had no idea how, we were afraid it was going to be bad, but it was magnificent.
Yeah.
And incredibly amazing. So that's what a week of camp looks like,
Yeah.
right?
And then the other neat part about the actual musical, well, a couple days, I mean, we didn't think about it until it was actually right at hand. And a couple days later, we were thinking, man, this is a great educational opportunity for the community. So we started bombarding all of our city council members, and we invited our mayor, who's a little bit of a rhino, and we invited some of like everybody. We just invited
Oh
everybody.
no,
But you know what?
we full on invited the Rhino Mayor and the traitors on the city council. And you know what? They showed up. Oh yeah, they showed up.
Yeah, it was awesome, because you know what? If we're gonna find our common place, it should be the teaching of the Constitution, right? If people won't back that up, and there are people that aren't doing that, right? There are people that don't do that, but hopefully our local communities are still in a place where we can say, hey, come see this musical that these kids have learned all these things. Come and support them, please, because they've been learning, they've been doing all these things. So it was awesome. It was awesome, and we will do the same thing this year. We're gonna invite the whole town. I mean, everybody should attend and learn the songs and hear the songs and see what it's about, because it light that fire of freedom inside of you. So anyways.
Yes, no, absolutely. So that's what a week camp looks like. Shannon, you gotta log in again. Oh,
I-
now you don't need to for a second, because this is, here you go. Here's the, y'all get to watch me dance like a lunatic here. Oh,
This
shoot,
is
there's no sound, 1 second.
Oh,
Can't have it without sound.
right. So this is a little 5-minute video that Michelle put together of camp.
I am not a professional editor. It's,
She did great.
let's
Don't
see.
let her fool you. She's
Um,
amazing.
Let's see. Why is this not having sound? So that's turned up all the way. Like I said, not professionals.
Doug. Sound, the sound.
Come on. There is no sound. That is so heartbreaking. Like, there's not even the sound coming out of my computer. I am not singing that song. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, there's a speaker on there. There is a speaker on my computer, but it's like, see, it's turned up all the way. What? The recent, oh yeah, well. I'm wondering if it's just in the, what? Oh, all right, ready? Let's do it. We're gonna see our skills here for a second.
This is quite a comedy show.
Oh my gosh, you guys, we are not professionals. Why
I
is this
just
not-
want to know, did they rehearse this?
In the shower, no. All right, get ready. Are you ready, Shan? We're gonna have to be really quiet to hear yours, though. Can you
We'll
just go louder?
microphone it. We'll
Oh, okay.
Okay, are you
Okay,
ready?
wait. Okay, put it back. Put the
Okay.
microphone in front of it.
Okay.
And then we'll count to 3. Ready? 1.
Are you guys ready?
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Where's the sound?
Might be off a little, but we'll just.
Natural law is truth. It is the same for all people, all times, and all places.
Was I on the ship? I was not. I actually wasn't in Boston when the Tea Party happened, but I'm sure glad they did it.
Matter of fact, I did not. Eventually, they added the Bill of Rights, which I thought better protected the rights of the people
And after they entered the Bill of Rights, I became a firm supporter of the Constitution.
Now you know, second president of the United States. I was after George Washington. You just saw George? How's he doing? I heard he was dead. Just saw him. Oh, Samuel? Yeah, he was my third cousin. Okay, I want to tell you a little bit about John Adams and the type of person that he was. Because I was a little bit rough and I make fun of people and do things that I shouldn't do and make people mad. But Thomas Jefferson was a very good, honest, upright individual. And the thing that I had going for me is when I told somebody that I would do something, everyone believed it. So they knew that I told the truth and I did not make up any stories or any lies to get elected to president or anything else.
That's a true story. He's a man of his word.
That was my No, this is the show.
It was so fun. There were so many neat things about it. The spirit of freedom, the spirit of the Founding Fathers was there all week long. It was so amazing. Okay, so our next...
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what does it take to put on this camp? It takes a village, just so you know.
So our village consists of volunteers, chaperones, passionate teachers, eccentric old men, right, and community members, right?
And a lot of community members.
Yes,
we had, you're good. We had the mayor of Chubbuck involved.
Yeah.
We had
He was
one of our
George
commissioners. What?
Yeah. He was George Washington. Yeah,
Yeah,
mayor.
and one of our commissioners was one of the Founding Fathers.
Yep.
We had influential community members that we said, hey, we'd love for you to be a part of this. And they were like, okay. And they came, and they were a part of it.
And then just my dad, because I dragged him into it. But now I'm just going to tell you the story because it's funny. So my dad is like, he is a grumpy old Marine, right? I'm not dressing up, I'm not acting out. I'm like, please, Daddy. So he does it, right? So he would not give his costume back at the end of the year. He wore his costume Friday night to the play, right? Yeah. And then he actually was doing this thing for Easter where he was playing a guy from Jerusalem, and so he grew out his beard for the first time in 50 years. And then he decided he was going to keep his beard so that the bartender could cut it into mutton chops so he could be John Adams even better this year. So that's how this thing has changed hearts, like even for the people that are involved, right? Like it's just, anyway.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. So many of these things, so many of these things we didn't realize. We didn't realize how these people were going to be affected, how people were going to be involved, but there was somebody who did know, and that was our Heavenly Father. God knew exactly how this was going to work. He knew exactly who needed to be involved. He knew exactly where they needed to go, when they needed to be there. Because we'll tell you, we had challenges and miracles happen through the whole thing. And it's funny to like think about it now and go through those memories and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did it. But to think about, I mean, it was We had some, okay, so our challenges. Let's
Okay,
go through
so
that
we had a volunteer meeting that completely fell flat because we didn't know what we were doing, and then we had a bunch of volunteers back out because they were like, these ladies are cray cray. No, we had one volunteer that had been in it for years, and then she was like, if the other ladies aren't involved, I just don't think you can do it as good, and we're gonna peace out, right? And they left us. And then
Back this year.
and yeah, she came back this year. She signed up like day of, so you know she must have heard. I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. So we had a teacher who had a medical emergency and dropped out days before after she had set up the curriculum. We had a teacher drop out, and then the replacement teacher got COVID. Remember? Oh yeah. And so then we had to scramble and find another teacher like 2 days before. We had a founding father back out days before. We had a founding father that got lost on the day of and couldn't find the place. We lost our location 1 week before camp.
This was
Okay.
probably our biggest little trial right here, was the week before.
Like literally, if it could have happened, it happened, right?
Right.
So,
They've had it in the same location for the last 10 years. It was
Yep.
a guaranteed, like, you
Yeah.
guys are gonna get this place because we've always done it here. Like, oh, great, okay, great. Like, in the bag, we're good to go. 1 week beforehand, it was like,
Literally
oh, we double booked, sorry.
like almost to the day, like it was a Sunday, right? The week before camp.
Yeah,
It
so,
was a little traumatizing for me.
so ladies called and they're like, we don't know what we're doing. So we can only get three of the four of us together.
Right.
The other one couldn't get together with us both. The three of us got in a car, drove to our temple, and said prayers. Like, Heavenly Father, we need help. We don't know how we're going to do this. We couldn't work on it on that day, so we felt like the best thing to do is pray. We're going to pray for some help. And then Monday morning, we went to work.
Yes.
We went to work, and we called, and we called, and we
Every
called.
single church and event center in the entire city of Pocatello.
Yeah.
4 hours.
Yeah, and bless John Crowder's heart,
Amen.
he came through for us. And the Calvary Chapel is where his daughter goes to a private school there. It's like, did you guys think of these guys? No, we haven't thought of those guys yet. Anyways, called
Pastor
them,
Nathan, yeah.
called Pastor Nathan. Pastor Nathan was like, oh, yeah, let's meet. We'll see how, let's make sure that we're on the same path or like on the same wavelength. They don't want to, host anything they don't agree with, of course. That makes sense. Okay, so we all go in together. Our whole board goes and we go talk to him. And it's like, yeah, I think we can do this. And we were like, woo! And we're going to have a victory dance. It was,
And that was Tuesday.
yeah.
And camp started the following Monday, right? Yeah, like.
So, okay, this is the thing with that. Was there anything else, any of the other challenges? I mean, it just kind of came one thing after another.
Well, we had a chaperone back out second day of camp,
Oh, yeah.
right? That happened.
And they're important. Like, you gotta have your chaperones or else the group cannot go, so.
There was a lot of regrouping.
So, but what we experienced through all of these challenges, well, number one is that prayers work, right? Number one. Number two, God is always there, and He supports this cause 100% because we felt Him by us 100% of the time. Not that we laid back and said, well, just take care of this, please take care of this. No. We said, we need a lot of help, and then we were like, da, 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 like, what can we do, what can we do, what can we do? But because we did that, because we put in the work, everything turned out better
Yep.
than what we had planned.
Yep.
Not even kidding. You were like, the location was phenomenal.
Yeah.
We weren't going to have a stage or a place to have that musical in, and the Calvary Chapel has this massive open.
The musical was going to be like on the
auditorium.
dirt outside with like a CD player and the music playing.
Yeah, true camp style.
And then it was like full on lights show, music, technical.
I was like, yeah, you can use our sound
Anyway.
system. We're like, thanks.
I mean, it still would have been amazing in the dirt too. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's okay. Like, they did it that way for 10 years, and it was
Right.
incredible for them
Absolutely.
too. But we just saw that every step we took, you know what I mean? It went where it was supposed to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that was part of stepping into the dark.
Yes.
We didn't know how we were going to do this. We didn't know how it was going to work. We've never done anything like this before, ever. And it was just kind of like, but we want our kids to be involved.
Yep.
And we know how important it is to plant seeds, and we know how important it is for them to know this information and to build this love of our country and of our founding fathers. So, I guess we'll just move forward. It felt like that.
Yeah. But throughout the week, because we didn't know what camp looked like, we'd never experienced it, right? They didn't have the camp the 2 years before because of COVID and everything, so we never experienced it. We were just going off of this book. And then when it started on Monday, like by the end of the day, oh yeah, where did that go? There we go. You guys see that, okay? So there's the beginning of the day. I'm just kidding, this is different days, but this is how we felt. Beginning of the day, end of the day, right? We were exhausted, right? We were exhausted, but we all, at one time or another, had burst out into tears, right? Of joy, right? Not like, I mean, it was stressful a little, but it was amazing, right? And it was just like you can't imagine. So just go help, so you can feel it.
Yeah, so one of the things that we want to end with tonight is just a word of encouragement to all. To participate in any way, shape, or form that you can. Not everybody can participate the same way. We totally get that. People have different life circumstances, right? But if you think you can volunteer to go help and be somebody, be a part of the camp, go do it. You will be blessed because of it. If that's not possible and you think you can donate a little bit, it takes money to do all of these things that we're doing. We bought shirts, and you don't have to do all those things. You can cut corners.
So the ladies that did it before did like colored scarves for the kids that they tied around their necks. And they did a lot of things that had a much smaller budget, but we were very blessed with our Freedom Ball that first year, so we just
a little ambitious, maybe. I don't know if that's a good thing.
It worked out, so it's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, just get involved how you can. And if that means, whatever that means, telling your neighbors, or just going to the performance at the end of the week so the kids have support. That's huge. Showing up for them to say, you're doing it, you're learning, you're taking it in. This is awesome, So
we had parents that we were like, we're looking for teachers, we're looking for chaperones, and we had people that were like, oh, I don't feel comfortable teaching, I don't know the material, I don't know this, I don't know that. And some of them we just were like, do it anyway, you'll be fine. And they were, because the lesson plans are like mapped out for you word for word, and it's easy. But all of them were great ones. But even the ones that were nervous about it, once they started reading through the material, they made it their own, right? They changed things up, because we told all of our teachers, and you guys do you, but we told all of our teachers, if you have a better idea and you want to teach it a different way, go. Like, just go for it, right? And so when we were walking around and seeing what they were doing, we were like, man, they're brilliant. I'm so glad that we have brilliant people around us. And our chaperones, we kept telling our parents who were scared to get involved, oh, just be a chaperone. All you have to do is walk the kids from station to station and make sure no one dies. Like, no big deal, right? And, but then by the first day of camp, we were so blessed that the chaperones who were nervous about doing anything else ended up being incredible. Minus the one who left. It was a blessing she did. So, I mean, let's be honest, she just like said on her phone. But they were the heart and soul of camp. Those kids fell in love with their chaperones. They were the ones that were getting the kids to chant and singing the songs while they were walking up and down the halls, and they ended up being the heart and soul of camp. And even though they didn't feel like they had the knowledge, like, they made the experience that much better, right? So just get involved.
Yep,
just
absolutely. Do it. Absolutely. And we are here. We didn't know how to do it. The whole thing is in a book. Hallelujah. We didn't come up with any of it. Nope. You just got to follow the book, and you're good.
Yep.
So, like, get involved and let us know if you need help, because we're happy for anybody to come and help us at our camp. Come to our camp, and you can experience it and see what it's like. We will put you to work probably, but I think you'll enjoy it. But once you're there and you see how it's done, you'll say, oh yeah, we can go do this with our kids in Idaho Falls. We got this. And then we'll just pass it on from town to town and start little Constitution camps all over the place. We won't. We will encourage other towns.
I was like, I'm going to do that.
No. I think the whole point is that every town should be taking care of their kids.
Yep.
We have zero desire to go and do a Constitution camp anywhere else. We will take care of our kids. And we will help other people put on camps for their kids, because everybody should be taking care of their own.
Yep.
Right? They're your kids. It's your space. Own it, right?
Yep.
So
Amen. We're going to stop yapping now.
Yep.
Except unless you all have questions. We're willing to take questions, but we don't want to talk all night because we know we've talked a lot. Yes.
What are the age ranges that you think fit in well?
So our first year we had some 6-year-olds, mostly because they were our children and we didn't have anywhere else to put them. But we told the public 7 to 14, and then we had like almost down to 5 with yours, right?
Yeah.
With Cooper.
1 5-year-old.
So we had like 5 to 14. we learned that like 7 to 12 is perfect. Our 13 and 14-year-olds, they were having fun, but they just kept being like, instead of sewing the star, can I just help that other kid sew the star? So we just learned that next year we're gonna bring them all back as volunteers, and we've got like 12 teen volunteers that are gonna come and be like teen chaperones with the other chaperones and like assistant teachers, and anyway, we're excited about that. So teen volunteers, yep.
Which is the way to utilize that older group,
Yep.
right? That's such a brilliant way to
Because
utilize
they'll still
the older group.
learn when they're in the class, they just.
Yeah, absolutely. But they should be teaching. When they teach, they learn. So they should be helping with that. So good.
Yep.
There was another hand over here.
I had the same question.
Great question. Great minds think alike. Oh,
Did you guys charge a fee to the participants? Or
Yes, we charged a $50 fee.
50?
Yes. Yep, we charged a $50 fee, and that paid for literally everything.
That's
So,
the whole week.
for the whole week.
And it's 3 hours a day, right?
Yep, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and then the performance at night. Yeah.
So you said you used some of the money for your ball?
Yes.
That you did? So
Yeah.
how much did you budget, how much did you spend on it?
So the very first year, we actually got like $1,300 from our ball, and we didn't end up needing to use all of those funds because we didn't have as many scholarship kids and stuff that came in that we were hoping for, you know what I mean, like that we were allotting for, I guess. But our budget in the end, I think, was like $2,300, $2,400 is what we spent for the whole week. So, and then this year, we're expanding to 90 kids, so our projected budget is like $3,300.
and we did give a break to all volunteers.
Oh, yes,
Any
50% off to anyone who
Yeah,
volunteered.
who volunteers. They come in, the parents volunteer, and then their kids get to come.
Oh, and we also did, we might have made it too complicated, honestly, but we did it last year, so we're sticking with it. Like, because we know people have big families, so we had like, the first kid was $50, and then every kid after that was $10 off. And then if you volunteered, then it was half price. So,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it would be like 50, 40, 30, 20?
no, like 50, 40, 40, 40.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
right, actually.
And then when parents called and said, I have 5 kids, we said, great, come be a chaperone. Yeah. So, and we did have scholarships. We had a couple of, actually, last year, our one scholarship kid ended up just being like everybody's favorite. He was so cute. He was a young kid with special needs, and he was like so
Did
excited.
you
He
hear
loved
the woo right at the end of the song? That was him. You're like, yeah.
That's so awesome. So how old are chaperones have to be?
We are having our chaperones be 13 and up. So 12 comes to camp, 13 and up are chaperones. And actually, because we had that chaperone dentist, she left. I don't know what the case was. I'm wondering if she just wasn't as like-minded as she thought she was or something, but she didn't really give us a reason. She just was like, I'm not coming back. So we had to like regroup, and we had an older like teenage boy who was running our one station that I didn't tell you about, that you saw the dodgeball up there. And so we moved him into a chaperone role, and we had like a 14-year-old boy run that station by himself. We just had an adult sit in there, you know, and he did awesome. He did so great with that. But that station was all games, so they did like, you know, 3-legged race and like traditional old games, but then they also did like the dodgeball game that you were watching in there. They did like Patriots versus British, except for the British had to stand at arms and have the guy shoot while they all threw the balls all at once, and the Patriots just got to run wherever they wanted. Anyway. So everything connected somehow, but it was still, you know, fun. So, yeah. Anything else?
Okay. Well, thank you for letting us come. We enjoyed it. You guys are awesome. I think you're going to have an awesome camp, and we'll turn the time back over to Deb.
Cindy, come up here. Just have to say that this has been a bit of a passion of Cindy's for quite a while. Once she first found out about it and everything, and she's been trying to figure out how to make it happen. And she's not used to being up here, but she's going to have to learn, and so that's why I'm making her come up here. But I do really want to thank her for her passion and trying to put this together. As you can see, and I was watching everybody, as most I couldn't see behind my head, but at least this group here, okay? when you saw those kids singing and the joy that they had, almost brought tears to your eyes. You know, it really does. That's our future. And we have to do something. We have to take charge and make this happen. And these ladies have done that. And they've offered to help us. And I'm right with them that we need to do it all over the country. And I'm just glad for Cindy to step up and everything and say, you know, we need to do this here. And I'm glad for Chantel and Michelle and Ashley. You know I'm terrible with names. Anyway, to actually to help us, okay? Because this is extremely important for us, and we must need, and we're going to do that. And we are going to do it this summer. And the time, it's actually when it's
July 25th through the 20th. Is 24th? Is it?
It's the last week of July. What's the last week? I tell you.
The 28th.
It's 25 through 30. 25th
Yeah.
is a Monday.
Yeah.
And we get it. I got the Shiloh reserved for it, but we can only get 4 days. They're filling up, so I went ahead and got us scheduled. So we're going to cram a lot into 4 days. I think we can do it. So
Right. We can do it. But, and it's, I'll just have to say she's been my timekeeper. She's been my campaign manager, and she tried to keep things going for me for the last several weeks. And you know, I don't even know what yesterday was anymore, and I don't even know what tomorrow was going to be. So anyway, I really appreciate it. And
since they forgot to talk about their ball, the
Oh,
Freedom
the
Ball,
ball.
they held a Freedom Ball, and Doug and I went. And it was such a good time because Chantel taught ballroom dance.
She's a professional ballroom dancer.
Yes. And while Doug and I have been married for 42 years, he still hasn't learned that he cannot lead. It's not allowed. We can't dance. So we had such a good time. They did dessert and appetizers and dessert tables, and then the ballroom dance, and it was a very fun time. We're going to do that too.
Yeah.
So we might not get it this year, but next year it's on the plan. So it was so much fun, and it was very worth the time to go down. And our other choice was to go to the Pocatello Republican Lincoln Day. Oh my gosh, that was horrible.
and we made the better choice.
We
on
made the
that.
better choice. We went for what, 10, 20 minutes, half hour maybe?
Yeah.
It was awful. So it was awful.
Nothing like being the only patriots in a room full of
Yeah, it was a room full of rhinos. Right? Yeah, it was awful.
And, yeah, it was, but it was a great thing. And like Cindy says, you know, we're all about sharing, and this, you know, this country, what we have to do, and communities, we have to share. You know, this Liberty Dinner, they talked about John Crowder. I got this idea from him, and we do things a little bit differently, and we do have on the excuse me, on the tables there, you know, a form to fill out if you'd like to get involved somehow in all this. John takes it to the next step, actually, because he can. I can't at standard, you know, the way we're organized here. But he actually goes out and finds candidates to run for office, and then he trains and he promotes them and he pushes those. And he can because of the way he's not organized, actually. But we've learned a lot from him, and we've learned a lot from these ladies, and we can learn a lot from each other and other communities. And that's the whole key about all of us, is there's a lot of us working this issue, to fix this mess we're in. And I'll just say that. And we're going to help each other. We're going to help them. They're going to help us. We're going to help others. And with that, you know, we will take our country back. And I, again, really, ladies, I want to give you a big hand and so much for everything you've done. With that, I'll let everybody go, unless you have something else to say.
Yes, if you want to help us, come talk to me.
There should be a
Definitely.
long line.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be a long line.
I will.
Yeah, and you know, remember next Wednesday, we got to load this place up. And one thing that started, you know, this whole started on, I just thought of it, and they even mentioned it. We have issues in the schools, and it's going to take a while to fix it. And we really do need to try to figure out how to create some alternatives to what's being addressed in the public schools right now. And with that, I think you'll hear more later as time goes on and whatnot, but we and I say we, Stand Up for Idaho, is working to try and resolve some of those things. And, you know, school year's about out, so we really have like just a few months, couple of 3 months at most through the summer, to come up with an alternative to those that may want an alternative to public schools. So keep that in your mind and all that. And with that, thank you everybody, and I'll see you Wednesday, and bring all of your friends. And I'll say that, I'll ask this. If you can, bring an appetizer of your own. We will have some here, you know, and if you can bring some to share. I'm not asking the general public to bring, you know, to bring appetizers or things like that. And the reason for that is I don't want to have any funny brownies showing up, okay? Okay, because I don't want this group of funny brownies, believe me. So, and anyway, if you'd like to bring something, we're going to have tables set out, appetizers. The Shiloh is going to provide appetizers, or Stand Up for Idaho is, and we're going to bring that. But let's make next Wednesday a special Wednesday, a special day for us all, and bring everybody. Thank you very much. Have a great time tonight, and be safe going home. Thank you.